We move on to our next speaker, who has spent 15 years in the supply chain industry with the third-party logistics sector, covering 16 cities, 800 plus team members. He's a skilled supply chain management professional, worked across e-commerce, chemical, white goods, spare parts, and FMCG sectors. Prior to joining YCH, where he's the director now, Lukas Mardhi was with the Ace Hardware Group. Lukas, can I call you up on stage? He's talking to us today about warehouse transformation.
So, selamat pagi everyone. So, I will try to, on the mix benefit for everyone, I will try to speak in English, but I will mix it up with a bit of Indonesian so everybody can comprehend a bit. But all my slides in English, don't worry. So, we try to be flexible as much as possible in that sense. Okay, so thank you for the comprehensive introductions, and I'm very humbled to be able to present it here. So, a bit of background, I got a very challenging task to present, which is a global best practice in warehousing transformations. So a few things I want to put in because warehouse transformation, they got a lot of sector nowadays, but since the topic is building a robust supply chain ecosystem, so I'm more focused on the technology that's driven the process within the four walls, which is the warehouse itself. Because otherwise, I can talk about the cost savings in terms of energy, in terms of the green energy. There's a lot of few things that touch up more than that, but I try to be more on the technology that drive the process into a better process. So let's kickstart. So I need to tell you guys a story about myself. I'm running YCH. YCH is 3PL. It's been more than 60 years in the industry. We are a Singaporean-based company, but we are here. So you can see the logo also has changes from an old trucking company all the way now into a 3PLs, supply chain solutions. And where we are in Indonesia, this is our footprints across Indonesia. Just to give everybody a background, just mentioned just now, we are in 16 cities, we have a lot of staff, and we are dealing delivery to a lot of industry sector in Indonesia itself. So that's a bit of background about Indonesia, which is Indonesia where I'm supporting. So when we are talking now about the journey about warehouse transformations, I want to run through bits on the industry that support warehouse itself. So when we talk to the industry, I think everybody here aware, Industry 4.0. A lot of people now talking Industry 4.0, 4.0. But I want to recap a bit the journey, what is Industry 4.0. Industry 4.1 first is actually steam engine, machine work. That's the first thing that people say, the first blast of industrial revolution industry terjadi. The second blast coming when electricity come on board. That's second blast. Third one will be digitalized. When internet comes, automations comes. So this is where a lot of people misperception happens. 4.0 is not automations. Automation already happened at 3. 4.0 is automation with Internet of Things at further. So that means you can automate from a distance, no longer with an operator. So a lot of people mix a bit on 4.0 and 3.0. But I think it's well known, is artificial intelligence, 5G technologies for the internet and everything else. So this, the industry sector that with this ability, the warehouse can transform itself. Without this, the warehouse also cannot perform itself at the end of the day. Then before we go to the warehouse, I want to touch base a bit about the supply chain models. When we talk about supply chain itself, always, in my perspective, there's always 3 flows. Number 1 is the physical cargo flow. Always there's a cargo flow moving. We are warehousing, we are in the business of moving cargo one point to another point. Second, we don't forget there's an information, the data flow itself. I think the presenter before, William, mentioned very nice how you capture the information flow itself. Number 3, sorry, is financial. At the end of the day, the money needs to follow. Then otherwise you cannot comprehend each other. So we want to zoom in about the warehousing in terms of that's means the physical, but let's not forget about a few things that capture all together between the sector. So let's go back to the old journey, medievals, zaman kegelapan, let's say. We go back, what is storage, what is warehouse? Warehouse in the past is only to store cargo. That's it, or in the medieval way, we only store foods, because we need foods. As a human being, we always need food. So we call it huts, everything else. Then industrialist revolution happens. That changed a bit to, we call it, I think people, if you're in industry long enough, we call it, a lot of people call it depot. If you remember, oh, depot Palembang, depot Pekanbaru, depot Bandung, a lot of people call depot. So changes happens with the industry and infrastructure changes called depot. But then happening, the industry helps. Racking industry come in, the material handler equipments come in, whether it's a restruct, there is a forklift equipment. Then scanning happens, which William also mentioned is a docking scanner. Although nowadays RF scanner, whatever scanner, but it's a barcode implemented, ability no longer Excel spreadsheet type one by one, scanner happens. That's the first, I would say that's the first changes that happens to the warehouses, the transformation. Then after that, what happens? Distribution center. Warehouse no longer as a place to store. Warehouse is to distribute. I think I copied this from Walmart. The one who implements the idea of warehouse as a distribution center is Walmart. So the idea is warehouse is not to keep stock only, it's to distribute the products to all the customers across the surrounding. So that's the idea. That's why the name changes from distribution. Whether you send it to a retail store, whether you call it to distributor itself, whether you send it to another point. So the functionality has changed. So I put in a big bold marking. It's no longer, people think, hey, no longer a cost center, you know. If I can perform better, I get an edge in the market itself. So the mindset of warehousing changes. That's the nowadays changing. After this, is there anything changes in the warehouse of transformation again? Yes, there is. With the bonds of industry of internet and everything else, the names of distribution chains again now become fulfillment center. I think a lot of people has been aware. Amazon is the one who become the pioneer on this. They become the fulfillment. It's no longer to distribute. I want to fulfill your order. Exactly. Just nice. What will happen. Delivery in full and on time. So packing changes. No longer big truck. Now very small packings. Loose picking happens. Small packaging happens, and delivery across home delivery. Changes happens. So in the warehouse environments, we as a in the industry, we need to adapt on it. So if we cannot adapt to all this, you become dinosaur. I think a lot of people will say this. So changes of transformations happen. So these the things that as a player, we need to understand what's the market dynamic out there and what impacted to the business that we are doing now. If we don't understand the correlation in between of this, that's it. Then the issue will happen itself. Then beyond this, what's what I'm trying to summarize itself. So in the industry nowadays, I will try to summarize. There's still two bigger types of warehousing or transformation that happens. Number one will be the omni-channels that I'm trying to say is omni-channels. So the warehouse has become very complex. It's serving small order, but multiple hundreds of thousands of order delivery to homes, and must be very fast. In the olden days, I remember back like 5 years ago, if I said, my customer said, but Lukas, please deliver within 2 or 3 days. Well, I was struggling, deliver 2 or 3 days, very difficult. Nowadays with e-commerce, no, I want 2 hours, 1 hour. That's a very different dynamic. Sometimes they say 2 hours and free some more, voila, very difficult. So the dynamic has changed. The omni-channels, you need to adapt the system changes, the IT, the Internet of Things. Terry also mentioned with the Alibaba happening, so you need to adapt on it. But there are certain industries that still need the urban logistics. Where people like us, we're still living in the urban, we still need to deliver the cargo in the bulk area. Whether it's a big truck or small, whether we deliver to a retail, we deliver to the small shopping malls, we got solution how to deliver to the shopping mall. And complexity happens. Indonesia regulations, although I think a lot of people now in the process of confusing, although okay, not okay, go, no go, or even I think the last few days I got a lot of information. If you talk about delivery to route to market, the restrictions in the gasoline. If you are in the market, then whether I can buy petrol or not buy petrol. Some people say can, some people say cannot. Then create very different complexity. But if you are near to the market, then we try to adapt on all this. This complexity will always be there. bear with me that this is always going to be happenings and continuously happening, but how we adapt and try to come up with different solutions to tackle all this. I try to put all the mentionings, I just mentioned quite a bit summaries. So when we're talking about warehouse, there's a tangible, there's an intangible stuff. There's tangibles, definitely there's two, which is the four wall. Warehouse itself, building infrastructure is there. I always told my boss, my customer in that sense, I got four walls. I cannot make it bigger, I cannot make it smaller. It's four walls, it's four walls. You want to do it, it takes more time for me. Can I construct a different wall? I knocked out, I built one, but it takes different investment methods, different schemes of operation and everything else. Then equipments, the equipments that involve on it, that's the tangibles. The intangibles for this is your IT. You've got restrictions in terms of your four wall, but you can create a different way of doing it inside the four walls itself. Then create a different solution for your customers as well. You can, I got 1,000 people, maybe I can cut down size by half of it if I use system. There's a human error in typing, but scanning, I reduce the error. Can people make mistake? Bad, they scan wrongly also, but reduce the dummy proof is happening there. We're trying to reduce error as much as possible. Don't get me wrong, I'm not promising this 100% all in all, but we need to reduce all this to the minimum level as much as possible. And definitely is the demand. Demand planning, I think Pak Prata at the beginning mentioned very good to me also. When you have forecast, it's always going to be a forecast, but how you adapt, you play on it, the system tries to adapt the market changes on it, then will create a cutting edge advantage to your competitor, definitely. Because at the end of the day, stock, or what Pak Prata mentioned, is cost. It's all money, money everywhere. When you put in stock everywhere, it's money everywhere. So how you make sure you bring in the right stock, and that's always been the challenge on it. So transformations on it. So whether it's this you see, I think the Jack Ma also, I put in the Jack Ma transformation here also. It cannot be a single model. There will be always different models. There will be always different segmentation. In the logistic, what the things that I like is there's always a tailor-made. You cannot have one solution fit for all. Definitely cannot, because with a lot of complexity on it, with a lot of demand, a lot of different process on it, it creates different solutions. But it will be very fun, then very challenging also. But there will be a satisfaction or gratification if you can solve and crack on it. I'll try to give you guys a bit of what we are doing in the group itself. What we're doing in Singapore, but at least it's spelling out what I'm trying to present today and how the things adapt on it. So a few things, if I put pictures, I say, a lot of people now say drones. Drones, good, bad, no good, no good, very good, very bad. So a lot of things, I put pictures like this, doesn't create a lot of value. I think everybody agree with it, right? So let's play a bit of a video on it. Bear with me, it's only 2 minutes video. It won't take you guys so long. I know I'm in the middle of your lunch. So while they're preparing the video, so I will just want to share what's happening out there. Already happening. Not a lot of people just say, oh, I know it's happening. No, I want to show real life environments on it. So it creates more value when things are real life environments. So it's just not a picture. It's just not. So I try to put as much as video as much as possible in that sense. Am I being too fast? Please stop me. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to share a bit more based on that video. If you notice the AGV, automatic guided vehicle, as a stand forklift without human, as simple as that, or pallet mover without human. But the beauty on it is, you see, in the olden days, you need to put a lot of marking on the floor. You invest a lot of things on the floor. You want to make 3D maps and everything else. In here, it's not. It's not also measuring in the tapes. It got 360-degree environmental sensor. That means it can coexist side by side with your normal humans being operated. That means one AGV with side by side is your normal operator. You don't need to invent 100%. In the normal AGV environment, automations, I want 100%, 100%. You cannot have another human, then automation, then the confusion happen. In here, it can coexist. This is the beauty of it. When you can coexist the manual operations with the automations, then you get the full blast of optimizations. Because when the humans comes, then automation comes, the automation will stop. You will see it and say, okay, human passing up. Then continue his job, the AGV will continue to do his job. So my colleague in Singapore very happy. Every lunchtime they always put away please, 100 pallet. They go to lunch, come back, finish, all put away, warehouse operation done. In a sense, that's the thing that's happening. We're trying to accommodate side by side what's happening in the warehouse global environments. Is it going to be 100% economically make sense? Maybe not. But if we never try, we never going to be there, right? We need to go somewhere. We need to start somewhere. So that's something that I want to carry forward the message. So what things that more realistically, when I'm talking about this, although it's happening, it's not happening in Indonesia, it's happening in Singapore and other places where labor cost is very high, land price is very expensive, and a lot of things are happening. But what's happening in Indonesia? What can happen really around Indonesia? I think shuttle racking has been very, very popular, getting very, very tractions in Indonesia. We do it, a lot of people do it. I would suggest a lot of people, I think when you use scanner, it's a common thing, but somehow down the line, this investment is not too high. You can play around with it. You can get more tractions in terms of operation. You get a bit of automations, but you got the manual intervention also how to get this. So these few things that also are happening very quickly in Indonesia. I can understand. I think the last 10 big customer that I'm talking to, 20 to 30% already considering this. Another 10 to 20% already implementing this also. So it's not a new thing anymore actually. So we also, I think William mentioned very nicely when we're talking about Internet of Things. When we have Internet of Things, you've got the capability to do that. You need to have a control tower. Otherwise, it's a waste. You got all the data everywhere. You can pick it up data, but nobody analyze. Nobody got the detections. Nobody aware of it. What's the point of it? We need to put it. So We continuously, I put in carelessly, because sometimes the investment doesn't make sense. William mentioned very high. It's a cost investment, it's a big investment, but we need to start somewhere. Control tower is critical. You got data is everywhere. You need to analyze the data. You need to understand your pain point and how you improve. Otherwise, data is data. People never analyze anything. Still data, raw data. Excel spreadsheet can be data also, but you need to analyze. You need to understand how to improve beyond that. Just capturing data. Capturing is easy, number one, but analyzing and improving it, that's different thing. And see whether your new methods improve or not. That's another segment of it. So I put a few words from the big boys, Jack Welch and Jeff Bezos. So that's the final slide for me. I hope I'm not dragging you guys too long on it, but I will try to answer it. Let's talk more. And there's one word sentence that I like very much from Darwin actually. It's not the strongest that survive, it's the most adaptable that survive. Ultimately. Thank you everyone.
Any questions? So maybe you can clarify all the doubts over a very, very quick coffee break. Instead of 30 minutes, we'll do 15 minutes because we're running late. Sorry? Oh yeah, sure.
So, Lukas, right?
Yes.
Thanks for showcasing the pallet shuttle technology. I would say it's about 60, 70 years old. What's your view on AMV technology coming in and the Southeast Asian market is it ready for AMV technology? Or do you think it's too early right now compared to the AGVs?
Okay, I will try to answer that a bit carefully, to be fair with you. Southeast Asia markets is a growing and a booming market itself. I try to answer that in different way of angles. There cannot be a single winner for every product. Definitely different segmentation, different needs for every segment. But Southeast Asia is the, I'll use the words of the e-commerce player, is the playground for every startup actually. You want to test something, you test it in here. You success in here, you success the rest of the world. A lot of people do that testing in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, because in the small regions of Southeast Asia, I was relatively small compared to the India or the US in that sense, but you can test the high living costs and high investment costs in Singapore. You can test the big populations in Indonesia. You can test somewhere in between in Malaysia. You can test somewhere in Thailand. So different patterns, different segmentations, different needs also. So I cannot predict also which one will be the champion, to be fair with you. That would be a tough task. I don't have my crystal ball, but I would say market will determine definitely. If you're giving a different value that is the best value to the market, you will be champion on it. AGV tractions, the one that we are using now, has been for many years, yes, but it works a bit in Singapore. I don't say a lot also. Indonesia terribly felt miserably in Indonesia. Maybe picking up very strongly in another 2 or 3 years, depends. Volume justifies a lot of things. Cost is one thing on it, but new updates on technology will always, the new way of using it may be creating a different value.
It's just I've got an AMV video that I'm going to showcase later, so we can discuss that.
Thank you. Let's grab coffee and Eddie can